good, my village people? You are welcome back to my channel. Thanks for returning. If this is your first time here, you're welcome as well. I am Gimbia, an entrepreneur and a public health enthusiast passionate about improving and maintaining good health. I say here all the time, secure your well-being always. Like I initiated in my last video, this is a 3-part series on the social health quadrant. To be specific, we're looking at social norms when dealing with the public and anyone other than yourself. If you haven't seen my last video, you can check it out here after we're done, or I can leave a link at the end of this video if that's more convenient for you. Personal space is a concept almost everyone is aware of but don't comply with. Some people need it more than others, and because you may never know everyone's mental state at every particular point in time, or their religious orientation, or their cultural disposition, it's best to respect personal space. For example, don't stand too close to people, whether on queues or anywhere else, unless it's a crowded place and there's really nowhere else to go. In the cinema, don't take the seats right next to a stranger, especially when there are other available seats, unless it is assigned seating, like in airplanes too, or at events or churches where ushers direct you to a particular seat. But if you so badly want or need to sit in a particular spot, you can just ask the person there, do you mind? Because you never know, maybe the person has epilepsy and needs enough space to be able to throw a fit or something. A 2014 study by Tina and colleagues on body space in social interactions highlighted that there is a comfort distance most people have, especially in social interactions not under their own control. So maintaining others at larger distances serves as a perception of comfort or safety value. Of course, this is much higher in women than in men, and it's even trickier in passive-aggressive situations where you are unsure, is this a threat? Should I remove his hand? Or will I come off as overly sensitive or over the top, doing too much, So touching people you are not too familiar with just because you're talking to them and ignoring their obvious discomfort is threatening their personal space. Using terms of endearment to address people can be inappropriate in several settings. Honey, dear, sweetheart, love are all for extremely close family and friends, not even in the workplace. In fact, it falls under sexual harassment at work. Clients or customers shouldn't be referred to as dear, cutie, sweetheart, unless there is a relationship rapport between you guys or some sort of history and you are sure it is cool, it is okay between you guys. Maybe that is your personal lingo with that particular client or customer. You are sure ultimately that it's fine. Some people use these monikers when they've forgotten a person's name. These nicknames or monikers come in handy. But in semi-formal situations, sir, ma, or ma'am are sufficient. Even in some casual situations, like say friends that you haven't seen for like 12 years and you've forgotten their names. So say you run into such a friend and they're like, hey Gimbia, long time. You can just say, hello sir, oh my goodness, it's been ages. Or hello madam, how are you doing? Good gracious, long time. That is if it's too awkward for you to ask them their name, to remind you their name or something. You can always find out their name later. There's social media, school yearbooks, mutual friends. You can find a way. I read an article on the Washington Post by Judith Martin and Co. where they explained the relationship between terms of endearment and condescension. It's really hard to win. So unless you know for sure, it's best to reserve them for close friends and relatives. Some people find it offensive because the unsolicited affection makes them feel like you're treating them as children when they are not. For some others, the titles of dignity make them feel like you're calling them old. Ma, sir, ma'am. It's like, why are you calling madam? Please, no, I'm too young. I'm not madam. You know, the best thing is to call people by name and add Mr. or Miss or Mrs. when you're not sure they'll be offended by sir, ma, ma'am, or madam. You know? But if you don't know a person's name, you can always ask, what can I call you, please? And they will tell you. But if you've forgotten their name, it's on you. And the onus is on you to find out without alienating or offending them. For me, I am Gimbia. You can call me Gimbia whether you are 2 years old or 200 years old. That's my name, and I'm comfortable with it. For others, it may be different. So if they're important to you, find out and use the appropriate identifiers. The last trait we're looking at today is distracting behavior at events. For example, the cinema. Okay, I don't know why I keep using the cinema as an example. Maybe I miss it. But excessive talking during a movie at the cinema, or you come late for a movie, don't just block everyone's view as you try to find a seat. Just pick the first seat you find and sit down. Don't roam around the cinema with your flashlights or your torchlight in people's faces, looking for the perfect seat in the middle, right at the center. Then you change your mind at the end and start all over again. It's unfair, since others are also paid to watch the movie. Excessive talking, gisting, giving spoilers, just making noise, that is grossly inconsiderate. You know, people are there to see a movie. Don't give spoilers. Just wait for everybody to be on the same page. I've seen it. Another thing, of course, there's a general clap here and there, yay, yes, laughter from the crowd, you know, at a certain point in a movie. Beyond that, it's just over the top. The cinema is also not the place for making phone calls. So if you have an emergency you're anticipating or some phone calls that might come, maybe don't go to the cinema. Go somewhere else. One phone call can be forgiven, but 3, 4, it's best to just step outside and take the calls, because you'll be trying to whisper, but you can't hear the person on the other line. The person can't hear you because the cinema is loud, so you end up shouting. It's very inconsiderate. That's all for this episode, my village people. I hope you enjoyed our talk. Like I always remind you here, secure your well-being with everything you've got. Check in next week for the last part of this series. Until then, subscribe please and leave your comments below. I'll see you around.